Saya, normal.
Esto es lo que estamos viviendo. Es horrible. Yo sé que igual está nada más generando pánico, pero güey, lo están logrando.
¿Te dieron? Checa ya la celda, la morra, güey. ¿Te dieron? Ponte en un lugar, güey, que no se... Así quedó mi vehículo.
¡Vámonos! ¡Vámonos!
Ahí está la puerta y el portón, ahí está el portón de puerta. Aguas,
Mucho bonito, nena. ¿Qué quieres que haga? No puedes, tu negocio.
Pues sí, pero no.
For years, he was a ghost, a name whispered in courtrooms, a face printed on wanted posters, a shadow blamed for bloodshed that stretched across borders. $15 million. That was the price placed on his capture, but no one collected it because no one could find him until February 22nd, 2026. And then everything changed.
We want to take you now to some video. This is out of Mexico. Look at this. This is where the U.S. State Department has now issued a travel advisory for multiple regions all across that country after the deadly takedown of their cartel leader, a cartel leader there. Today, the Mexican military killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel known as El Mencho. And according to the U.S. DEA, the cartel is one of the most powerful and ruthless organizations in Mexico.
El Mencho's killing has triggered violence across Mexico, with suspected cartel members setting buses on fire, blocking roads, and clashing with authorities. Tonight, the U.S. Embassy is urging U.S. citizens in the following locations to shelter in place: Jalisco State, including Puerto Vallarta, Chapala, and Guadalajara; Tamaulipas State, including Reynosa and other municipalities; areas of Michoacán State, Guerrero State, and Nuevo Leon State as well.
His name was Nemesio Ruben Ascarera Cervantes, but the world knew him by another name, El Mencho, founder, commander, architect of one of the most feared criminal organizations on the planet, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. The CJNG didn't grow quietly. It expanded violently, state by state, border by border, shipment by shipment, fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine. The organization flooded streets across North America with narcotics, while its leader remained untouchable. A former police officer turned cartel kingpin. He understood the system, he understood tactics, he understood pursuit, and for years, he stayed one step ahead. Behind closed doors, pressure was building. International pressure, political pressure, public pressure. The United States had long pursued him. The DEA labeled his cartel one of the most ruthless in Mexico. Joint task force formed. Intelligence networks tightened. Surveillance intensified. Somewhere inside that machinery, something shifted. Information began to move. Pieces began to align. But no one outside a very small circle knew what was coming. And in the quiet mountain town of Tapalpa, life continued as normal for a while. It happened before most people even realized anything was wrong. Mexican military forces moved into Tapalpa. The operation was precise, planned, calculated. Special forces units, federal branches, coordinated execution. Officials later confirmed that intelligence support had been provided from the United States, but what exactly that meant remains unclear. What is known is that gunfire erupted. CJNG operatives engaged the military. The quiet town was no longer quiet. In the exchange, 4 cartel members were killed. 3 Mexican soldiers were injured. And somewhere inside that chaos, El Mencho was wounded critically. He wasn't captured in handcuffs. He wasn't paraded before cameras. He was airlifted. An aircraft lifted off towards Mexico City. Inside, a man who had built an empire through force and fear. But the wounds were severe, and before the plane could reach its destination, he died. No dramatic speech, no surrender, no courtroom trial, just silence, and then an announcement that would send shockwaves through an entire nation.
Mexico's most powerful drug kingpin was killed during a military operation. Mexican officials say criminal groups burned cars and trucks to block roads across the country. The State Department is warning Americans to shelter in place. ABC's Melissa Dunn is near the border tonight.
Explosions erupting across Puerto Vallarta tonight. Black smoke seen rising over the resort city on Mexico's Pacific coast. Mexico's military forces launching a daring operation to capture cartel leader Ruben N., known as El Mencho. Multiple cars on fire in the streets. Mexican officials say during their operation, military personnel were attacked. Several cartel members were killed, including El Mencho, the head of the new generation Jalisco cartel, who died while airlifted to a hospital in Mexico City. Mexican authorities say the United States provided complimentary information for their operation. A U.S. defense official telling ABC News Northcom provided information for the raid. The violence forcing the Puerto Vallarta airport to suspend all flights. This stranding many U.S. citizens trying to get home.
Yeah, I mean, at first we were like, what's going on? And then, then you find out, hopefully they lift the ban and we're able to go out.
Border cities like Tijuana are now reporting criminal activity, and the State Department is telling U.S. citizens in impacted areas in Mexico to shelter in place. Lindsay?
Melissa, thank you.
The news spread fast, faster than officials could contain it. Within hours, retaliation began. Across western and northern Mexico, violence erupted. Burning vehicles blocked highways. Buses were set ablaze. Businesses torched. Major roads in multiple states, including Jalisco and Guanajuato, were shut down by armed groups.
¿Ya la prendieron? Un equipo armado.
It wasn't random. It was coordinated. A message. Airlines reacted quickly. United, American, Air Canada. Flights into Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara were canceled. The U.S. State Department issued emergency alerts. American citizens were urged to shelter in place. For a moment, the country seemed to hold its breath. Was this the beginning of something bigger, or just the immediate shockwave of a fallen leader?
Gente corriendo.
Right now at 5:30, chaos breaks out in central Mexico after a powerful cartel leader was killed in a military operation. Video from Puerto Vallarta shows several vehicles and buildings set on fire. Officials say cartel members are responsible, saying it's in retaliation to the military operation. Right now, the U.S. Embassy and consulates in Mexico are urging U.S. citizens in these parts of Mexico to shelter in place. Good evening, I'm Trayson Bragg. In just the last few hours, several planes landed in Houston from Mexico. It's as several flights to and from places like Puerto Vallarta have been canceled. Troy Kless joins us live from Bush Airport, where he spoke to some passengers who just returned to Houston and saw some of the chaos firsthand. Troy, those are obviously some tense and scary moments for those passengers.
Exactly right, Trayson. One woman tells me that she was waiting on an airplane for 2 hours before they were able to leave their flight out of Guadalajara, and that is what several people experienced in multiple parts of Mexico this afternoon. Now take a look. After a cartel leader was killed in Mexico, as you mentioned, several car fires were reported on streets, and many people that we spoke with saw images like these on the way to their airport. Many passengers returned to Bush Airport on Sunday feeling very distraught. At Houston airports, there were 4 flights to Puerto Vallarta that were canceled and 4 more flights that had to turn around and come back to Houston. We also spoke to a woman who just arrived this afternoon from Guadalajara, who says she saw several cars on fire and vehicles with flat tires on the way to the airport.
Get to our gate, we're boarding, and then all of a sudden the employees are like rushing us to get in. Like we're on the bridge to get into the aircraft, and then they're just rushing us, like hurry up, get in, doesn't matter.
And right now, the U.S. government is asking U.S. citizens in certain Mexico locations to shelter in place. That traveler saying that despite the chaotic circumstances, that her particular airline had handled the situation well. She could see ground workers that were scrambling as all of this activity was going on. We're going to hear more from other passengers who just arrived from Mexico tonight on KHOU 11 News at 10. For now, reporting live at Bush Airport, Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, terrifying moments for them after officials say El Mencho was killed. Troy, thanks so much.
Cartels don't simply disappear when a leader dies. They fracture, they reorganize, they fight. The CJNG had grown into a global force under El Mencho's command. Removing a figure like that doesn't end an empire overnight. It creates uncertainty. Who steps forward? Who challenges authority? Who sees opportunity? Inside criminal organizations, power transitions are rarely peaceful, and history shows violence often follows.
Chaos is unfolding in parts of Mexico. It's after the leader of a powerful drug cartel was killed. Now members in that cartel are clashing with the Mexican government. Nemesio Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. He was killed by Mexico's military during an operation earlier today. The Jalisco Cartel is considered one of the top criminal organizations in Mexico, and that's according to the DEA.
This was one of the most significant actions undertaken in the history of drug trafficking, because we're talking about someone that is almost at the same level as Chapo Guzman and El Mayo Zambada. He's one of the biggest drug capos in the history of drug trafficking around the globe.
Now, this is video from Puerto Vallarta, a popular tourist destination in the country. Members of the cartel have been blocking roads and lighting cars and buildings on fire. U.S. officials say anyone currently in the country should shelter in place. And according to FlightAware, a flight was leaving Puerto Vallarta around 2 this afternoon nonstop and landing at DTW, but that flight has since been canceled.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum praised the operation. She emphasized coordination, security, progress. Officials stated that daily life was continuing normally in most of the country, but beneath that statement was an undeniable reality. This was one of the most significant cartel takedowns in modern Mexican history. A man pursued for years, a $15 million bounty, gone. The Trump administration had pushed for tangible results in the fight against cartel operations, and now there was one. But victories like this carry weight. They shift dynamics, they trigger reactions, and sometimes they open doors that cannot easily be closed. What role did U.S. intelligence truly play? How deep did the coordination go? Was this a sudden breakthrough or the final move in a long-running strategy? Authorities confirmed an interagency U.S. task force contributed information, but the specifics remain undisclosed. And in operations like this, what remains hidden is often just as important as what is revealed. One man is gone, but the network he built still exists. For years, El Mencho was a symbol of power in the shadows. On February 22nd, 2026, that chapter ended. But history tells us something important. When a king falls, the board doesn't reset, it rearranges. And in that rearrangement, new alliances form, old loyalties fracture, and unseen players begin to move. The question isn't just how he died. The real question is, what happens next? Because sometimes the most dangerous moment isn't during the rise of an empire. It's after it falls. Alright, y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the crazy story of the assassination of, Jalisco cartel leader El Mencho. Get in that comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we outside trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video.